So that one's mine. That's the Himalayan, very sexy beast. And that one is my wife's 500 Bullet, also very sexy beast. That one's called Basil. She names all of her bikes, and she named this one after my grandfather because he used to ride bikes. So this one's called Basil the Bullet, and she loves it very dearly. Don't you love it? I don't think she realised I was filming then. That wasn't a very enthusiastic yes. So yeah, time to go out and enjoy a bit of bike time. You coming? Okay then, and off we go. So welcome back to the channel. Nice to see you all. Hope you're all enjoying the slightly nice warmer weather. So today we're just going for a little bit of a toddle around, me and my beautiful wife on her own Royal Enfield Bullet, advertising on back of ammo box. Now the reason we're going for a bit of a spin today is because we're a week away from heading off to the Isle of Man for 3 weeks of motorcycle related fun. And as you can see, Al hasn't ridden a bike for a while. Now there's a good reason for that actually. My wife, when she was 23 years of age, was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis, which for those of you that don't know is a neurological disorder which causes all sorts of different symptoms such as pain and numbness in different parts of the body. Al maybe has a couple of relapses a year, but as of this moment in time she has relapsing remitting MS, which means that she will have some symptoms, and over a period of about 2 months they clear up, and she recovers, which is a blessing. Due to quite a complex set of circumstances over the past 2 years, my wife hasn't really had a chance to ride very much at all, and in the last 12 months she hasn't ridden at all. So this is the first time she's got a bike out in quite a long period of time, and I thought I would document it for posterity, because the thing you don't know about my wife is that she loves that bike. She loves that bike more than she loves me. She passed a test not long after we got together, and she had a couple of different bikes. She had a 600 Bandit and a ZZR 600 Sport, which was a bit stupid, but she wanted one, so she went and bought one, and then decided about 5 years ago that what she really wanted to do was look like Wallace from Wallace and Gromit and buy herself a really old classic looking bike. So she did, and she went out and bought that Bullet that she's riding on, and it's been the absolute love of her life ever since. You can tell by how clean and tidy it is that she spends more time making sure that that bike is cared for and looked after than she does for me, which I'm cool with, to be honest with you, because as a biker, let's face it, all we want is for our loved ones and partners and significant others to share our passion, and I'm very, very lucky because mine does. She also shares a passion for racing motorbikes, not herself obviously, but she loves to come marshalling and go into the racing, and she's about as excited as a girl can be at the moment, because we are a week and a half out from heading off to the Isle of Man for the TT. So that bike there, it looks very classic. It looks like a 1950s Bullet, and there's a reason for that. It's because the Royal Enfield Bullet hasn't changed its design for nearly 100 years now. It's looked exactly the same in all of that time, and the reason for that is because I think Royal Enfield, after a certain period of time, well, first of all, when they built it, it looked like that because it works, and then after a certain period of time, they kind of wanted the kudos of having the longest manufactured vehicle in history. You know, the longest line of manufacture where the bike or car hasn't changed at all, and that beats it by a long way. But that one's not an old one, as you can tell from the number plate. Having a look at the number plate, and you can tell it's not an old one because the number plate's yellow and black, and that's a 2014 Royal Enfield Bullet, built in India, and fuel injected, and just a great all-round bike. And people are going to say, well, how is it in that good a riding condition if she hasn't ridden it for the last 2 years? And the answer is because I've ridden it for the last 2 years. I had Pan-European, a massive, great big 1100 Honda, very heavy motorcycle, and I loved that bike. I really did. It was good for going touring and riding all over the place. And then I had my issue with my groin, and I couldn't hold the weight of it up anymore. So I was basically given a bit of a choice of find something suitable to ride or stop riding. And I found that because it was in the shed, and I rode it for 2 years, up until last September, when, because I was going to the Manx Grand Prix with a friend of mine, and I didn't necessarily want to ride that bike because all the way 170 miles up the motorway to Morecambe to get on the ferry. I went and bought myself a little CBF. Now, I know in the last video I said CBR, that's because I was excited and incorrect. I bought myself a CBF 600, just for munching miles on the motorway and stuff like that, to be honest. And then subsequently, having worked out that I can still ride bikes and still love it and enjoy it, I went and bought the Llamidos Express, and those of you that are Terry Pratchett fans will get that reference. Yeah, back riding, back loving it. Best thing in the world. And as you can see from the way she's riding that bike there, 2 years out of the saddle, hasn't slung a leg over a bike in
had
2
nice
long
coffee
years.
and sit and watch the world go by,
like she was riding it yesterday. Absolutely
How
superb.
did you enjoy your first time back in nearly 2 years?
Fantastic.
Yeah?
Yeah, like an old shoe.
Like an old pair of slippers.
Yeah.
To be fair, you didn't look like you were struggling or nervous or anything, apart from the odd indicator fail.
Yeah.
But
I had a bit of a wobble on one of the go turnings.
yeah.
But other than that,
Didn't struggle. Yeah.
Threats, no. Daily threats.
It was. So, do you think you're ready for TT?
Yes.
Yeah? Gonna ride more this year?
Yes.
Yeah? Looking forward to it? Yeah, definitely. Come on then, let's get home.
Head back.
Oh. Indicators on. Your indicators on. Your indicators on. Oh, okay. On that note, thank you for joining us on our ride, and I'm sure that Chocks would appreciate any words of encouragement down in the comments. And yeah.
are we doing? It's now day 2 in the video. Me and Al went and had a lovely ride around the countryside, and like I said in one of my other videos, I'm not going to record absolutely everything that I do, because one, it takes away from my enjoyment, but two, you don't really want to see that, do you? So we had a lovely ride about, and Al very, very much enjoyed it, being back on a bike. We then test fitted the bikes into my camper van, and they fitted beautifully, like they were made for it. So we are all ready for the Isle of Man, except for one small thing. You will notice that there is a slightly different view of the front of my helmet today. And that's because I'm not on my Himalayan. This is actually the little bullet that you saw Al ride in the other day. And the reason that I'm riding it is because before he's allowed to travel across to the TT to put in duty as Al's ride for our holiday, he needs an MOT. So we're back off up to the bike shop to go and get the MOT done, make sure he's all safe and road legal, ready for the little trip. And I've got to say, I do love riding this little bike. It's so much fun. Very, very similar engine to my Himalayan, except as you can see from, I don't know, looking at the mirrors or whatever, he's a lot more vibraty, because it's less refined and not as modern. But still, that doesn't bother me or take away from my fun at all. So I thought I'd bring you along. It's a bit of I'm not going to film the MOT, obviously, because well, we all know what they look like. But the reason I thought I'd bring you along is while Basil's getting his MOT done, I thought I would take you and give you a quick tour round Chasman Motorcycles. Now, Chasman Motorcycles is run by a very good friend of mine and a friend of this channel that you'll be seeing a lot more of over the upcoming videos and so forth. But it's also one of the coolest bike shops I've ever been in. It's my local bike shop, but it's also my local cafe, my local bar, where I go to see bands. What Ian has done extremely well is, rather than just having a shop where he stacks jackets and helmets floor to ceiling and tries to sell as many bikes as he possibly can, what he's done is to create a venue where bikers can go and hang out and enjoy a beer if they want. Like I say, have a listen to some bands, do their bike shopping, but also, you're such a break. Oh, I've got a chap behind me on a scooter. Now, before anyone posts in the comments about you shouldn't be doing that, it's dangerous, stop being a bad road user and all the rest of it, in the UK you are legally allowed to filter. Gotta say, I'm not sure if this is actually filtering. But it's kind of accepted that if it's clear and safe to do so, you will try to move through the traffic as effectively as possible, so you don't add to it, I suppose is the way to look at it, which is exactly what I'm doing. And you may say to me, why didn't you filter through the traffic in the other video? Well, you're not always confident to do that, and like I say, it's a matter of what's safe. So yeah, Chasmans. Chasman stock MASH motorcycles, which are a pretty cool new brand, newish brand I should say. They're thanks for that. They're made in China. They're made in China by a French company, I believe. But they are they're an interesting bike brand, because much like Royal Enfield, they are kind of much maligned, and a lot of people have got a lot of sort of preconceived ideas about what it is to ride a Chinese motorbike, that everything's going to be cheap and that things are going to break and that they're not going to be very good. But actually, I've had a look over a few of these bikes that they make, and they make all sorts. They make little 125s right up to like a 650 Scrambler, which looks a lot like an old-fashioned XT500, which I really like the look of. Yeah, so I've had a look over a few of them, and they seem to be really put together well. You know, there's no kind of build quality issues with them, and I thought I would go up today, maybe have a bit of breakfast. Probably won't film that, you don't want to see me stuff my face, but I will show you around the shop and maybe take you for a little look at some of these little or not so little MASH 650s. What are you doing, mate? Come on. What a knob. Honestly, riding around Birmingham at 9 o'clock in the morning is a bit like playing Frogger. You alright there, mate? Cheers. Unbelievable. But hey, we do it because we love it. So Pete at Chasman's is a different garage to Chasman's, and it's up round the back. I'm going to go up round there, drop the bike off, and get everything sorted, and I'll be back in a minute. Okay then, that's the bullet dropped off, and here we are in my favourite place in Birmingham, really. I come here a lot, and for both beer, bands, bikes, anything with a B really. So this is Chasman Motorcycles, and it's in its format as a motorbike shop, because everything changes when they have bands on and so on. Yeah, so let's have a look around. This is sort of the main shop area, where he has some very cool stuff. Oh, I want to show you this. This is exciting. This is Ian's own Von Dutch MASH 500. Look how pretty it is. It's all done out in Von Dutch colours. Very sexy. You'll be seeing that in the next video, I expect. Come through here, and there's lots of bikes and bits, but it's the way it's all set out. Look, everything's so cool. These helmets my brother painted. We'll talk more about that at some point. And that tank as well, he painted Black Goose airbrush. So I'll just very quickly show you through here. This is a part of the shop called Scooterista, and it's all vintage scooters and Royal Alloys and all the modern stuff as well. Not really my thing, but if you like scooters, definitely come up the shop and have a look. And then we come through, and like I was saying to you, he doesn't stock floor to ceiling in stock. Everything's done so that you can see and get around everything, and you'll notice that I'm not having any problems. And then there's a little bike shop, or bike workshop I should say, at the back there. So this is Chasman Motorcycles, and it's an
extremely good place. The guy Ian, who's that chap there, is a very nice bloke. Ian, I'm just telling everybody how nice you are, mate. I was just saying, I'm just telling everybody how much of a nice man you are.
Ah, yeah. Oh, okay. Is it live?
It is live. But yeah, I just want to say thanks for letting me have a look around the shop, and I'm going to go and have a look at those mashes now.
We're meant to let people in.
Sorry?
We're a shop. We're meant to let people in.
Well, yeah, but you're not normally to film and embarrass you. I know. Or brushed your hair. So I thought I'd come and have a look at one of these for you, and it's a Mash X-Ride 650. As you can see, it's what I was talking about earlier. It's the ones that look like the old XT 500s, but very, very pretty. And he's got a few of them. Look, there's quite a few. I like the black one personally, but yeah. So he's got some new and he's got some used, alongside some other interesting bits and pieces. But I was just talking to Ian now before I started filming, and I'm going to do a video where I take one out for a test ride, because I'd really like to compare it to my bikes, to my Enfield and so on, but also kind of give you a bit of a rundown on what I think the quality is. So that's good. And I was just talking to him, and I didn't know about these, but these are electric motorcycles, Horwins. Apparently they have the same performance as a 125. So I asked him very nicely. I like the green one with the brown seat, that's sexy. I asked him very nicely, and he also said that I can take one of these out for a test ride at the same time. So video coming soon. But yeah, so I shall have a bit of a ride on these. I do like this is one of the reasons why you're right there. I'm making a video, it's alright. It's one of the reasons why I like being friends with the bloke that owns a bike shop, is that it means that I can often sort of blag myself some test rides. But anyway, that's the shop. So I'm now going to go and have something to eat, because there's a cafe upstairs, which is actually, let me take you up and show you that very quickly. I'm hoping I'm not picking up too much of my breath today, because I noticed that you could hear me breathing like an asthmatic pig last time. But yeah, if I just very quickly sort of come up over this wall, this is the cafe area, and the food in here is epic. And I'm going to go and have some now, so I'll see you in a bit. Well, he passed. We knew he would, because he's awesome. He passes every MOT. He's also extremely well looked after. I wish they wouldn't park their vans there. Oh, saying that, no problem on the squeaker. Everybody takes photos of those 650s all lined up like that. I don't know why. Well, I do, because they look really pretty. But they seem to be one of those bikes that appeals to people that aren't into bikes. I think it's because they're all white and clean looking, and they got gold wheels, and they're like a piece of jewellery, I suppose. But I'm looking forward to taking one of them out for a spin. I really am. So yeah, he passed his MOT, no advisories, no nothing, which makes me happy, and I'm sure will make Lady Chocolate extremely happy. So that's my morning. Bike MOT'd, and Matt fed. I had gluten-free. Don't judge me before I do not judge me when I tell you this. I had a gluten-free sausage and fried egg sandwich with gluten-free sausages, completely gluten-free, because Jazzman's
is very, very popular with the entire community, not just the biker community, and they get a lot of people in there that are gluten-free people or whatever, and quite a few vegans. We won't mention the vegans, but yeah. So now I personally, I'm not a gluten-free. I'm gluten-free. I'm not one of those hipstery people, but if I get the opportunity, I generally go for the gluten-free option because I prefer it, I suppose, and in my head it helps me think that I'm healthier. I don't like to eat too much processed stuff, and yeah, so I had that, Hipster Heaven. Really enjoyed that, good chat. We sat around the front of the shop. Ian, or Chasman's I should say, is one of those places that it's a man meeting place where you go and you meet your friends and you have a cup of tea and you talk crap, and then you leave, and you don't necessarily buy anything other than your tea or your coffee or whatever. And I don't know if anyone remembers an old I think it was 1980s or 1990s comedy show on the telly called Desmond's, which was set at a barber shop, and it was one of these barber shops that was like that. It was a man meeting place, and I've spoken to Ian about this in the past, and he always wanted to put together a shop that was more than a shop, that was one of those places. And we've just sat out the front there talking about space travel, and whether or not we're living in a simulation and this is the Matrix, or all sorts of stuff that we talk about. But I just love going up there. I'm very aware that he's a very busy man, because that's a very, very popular shop, and I don't like to take up more than about sort of 20 minutes of his time, so I only pop in there for a quick coffee catch up and then I sod off again. But if you want to visit a place where you'll be made to feel like you've known him for years from the very first moment you walk in through the door, and if you like it, you're welcome back with open arms and you're made to feel like a part of the family, then honestly that's the bike shop for you. It's in Kings Norton Green. And it's a bike shop that's been going for a very, very, very long time. Everybody in the area knows Chasman's. Ian's owned it for, I think, the last 10 to 15 years. I stand to be corrected on that, but I'm fairly sure that that's how long he's had it. It's quite a funny story. Is the original owner of Chasman's, which was a family business that was passed down father to son for many years, had decided to knock it on the head. He just wasn't making the business work. It was during a period of recession, and he was really struggling. And Ian went in there one day to buy a spark plug for his lawnmower, and he came out. This is very, oh yes, as well. But he came out having bought the shop, and when he bought the shop, it was a very basic, very, very basic, just used second-hand bike shop. We all knew it and loved it, but he had a vision for it, and it's taken him a long time to get where he's got, and it's cost him a lot of money and hours and stress, but I'm going to commend him. I think he's done an absolutely fantastic job on the place. Yeah, I would get round there. Also, if you want, I'll discuss it more when I test ride it, but if you want a cheap, decent motorbike, go and have a look at those Mashes. I think we got to move away from these £30,000 bloody head down, arse up Italian and Japanese pieces of engineering, and start to think more about what's reasonable on roads like this. And companies like Enfield and Mash and Mutt and all of those different sort of companies that are producing really decent now affordable motorbikes, that's the way forward, boy. Anyway, that's the end of the video.